Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope everybody had a good week last week. Hope you have a good week this week. I got some things I'd like to share with y'all in Ephesians. I've been reading and studying a lot of Paul's letters, and Ephesians is probably one of my favorites, But I've been studying in First Corinthians, and I've been going piece by piece through each one of them, and I got a little study deal here that I'm doing with it. And I read yesterday in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 7, and chapter 6 is talking about, I'm sorry, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 7. And in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, it's talking about Paul is telling people about people trying to sue other Christians, suing other Christians and taking them to court. And in Corinth at the time, it was a big deal, and there was a lot of stuff that wasn't right in Corinth at the time. And Paul was writing, some of these letters, he was writing seemed like he was scolding them, and he was sometimes. And anyhow, he was doing a lot of correction in the Corinthian letters. And in chapter 6, he's telling them about how some Christians are taking other Christians to court, and how some Christians are taking other Christians and letting a secular judge make decisions for them, And anyhow, he tells them in chapter 6, verse 7, he tells them, why not just accept the injustice? And that's going to help their witness. And I read that yesterday, and I was like, golly, man, because I've got a lot of stuff going on in my life personally, just like I know everyone else does too. A lot of times we have people that aren't necessarily Christians, but it's so easy to attach that anger to who we are and bury it deep down inside because we're Christians and we're not supposed to feel anger. But, Paul tells us to just accept the injustice and move on. And you know what? We've all had people do us wrong, and that's hard to swallow. I understand. But I tried shaking that whenever God showed that to me. I tried shaking it, and so I'm reading in Ephesians this morning, and I'm trying to get things ready for this message. And I flip it open, and I'm reading Ephesians, and I get down to chapter 4, verse 31, and it says, get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, harsh words, and slander, as well as all types of evil behavior. Instead, be kind to each other, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, just as God through Christ has forgiven you. And man, that was kind of a slap in the face, because I don't want to hear that. I want to hold on to this bitterness and this rage and this anger that I've got inside of me for the people who've done me wrong, or the things that's went wrong in my life, just like we all do. We all have a little bit of that in us. And Paul tells us earlier in Ephesians 4:26, he tells us don't sin by letting anger control you. So I would just like to encourage everyone out there today that may have a lot of things going on in their life, whether you have resentment towards your spouse or a coworker or a family member, whatever the case may be. Try in some way to apply these words to Paul, apply the words that Paul gives us, and let's get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, harsh words, and slander, as well as all types of evil behavior. We have to put on our new nature, which is a Paul quote too. We have to put on our new nature and be Christians. We can't be of this world. And I'm just as guilty as most, I let the flesh get a hold of me. I get mad and I want to choke people down and I want to do things, I get angry too, just like everyone else does. And so I'd like to encourage you this week as you're going through your week, whenever someone aggravates you and you're trying to get your things right, just remember what Paul says. Get rid of all that. Get rid of all that, and don't let sin control us. It's going to strengthen our faith. It's going to strengthen our walk. Whenever we can grin and bear it, and we can show love instead of anger, it's going to make God smile, and we're going to entertain angels even if we don't know it. So hope everybody has a good week. I hope everybody can have some patience for people and for things in their life, and know that the Lord loves you, and be encouraged. Check out Ephesians. It's a good encouraging letter if you got time. I hope everybody has a good week this week, and I'll talk to y'all next week.